must. First, we will prove that sunlight is also required for photosynthesis. In activity 1, we will prove that sunlight is required for photosynthesis. For proving this, we will require a potted plant. And what do we mean by potted plant? Fully grown plant is called potted plant. When we cap this potted plant in dark, and what do we mean by dark? The place where no sunlight exists is called dark. When we put this potted plant in the dark, and when we put this potted plant in the dark and capped in a water and then capped in a alcohol, then after boiling into the water and then after boiling into the alcohol, the green color disappears. And when we put this leaf into the water and wash it with the water, and then we will take this leaf and put it onto the table and add some few drops of iodine. After putting some drops of iodine, this color then it changes into blue black color. The leaf turns into blue black except the part which was covered with black paper. The part of the leaf which was covered with black paper does not turn into blue black. This shows that it does not contain starch. So we can say that sunlight is essential for photosynthesis to make a starch. For proving this activity, firstly we will take a potted plant. And what do we mean by potted plant? When we capped, what do we mean by potted plant? Fully grown plant is called potted plant. When we kept this potted plant in a dark and by dark place, and this dark, what do we mean by dark? Where so no sunlight exists is called dark place. When we put this potted plant into the dark and take one of its leaves and take one of its leaf on the left side as shown in the figure, and take second leaf and in the middle it covered with the black paper. After covering with the black paper, then remove this leaf and put into the water. After putting into the water and then into the alcohol, it will remove the green color of the solution. After boiling into the water and alcohol, wash it into the water, then add few drops of iodine. After putting a few drops of iodine, then after putting some few drops of iodine, then it turns into blue black except the part which was covered with black paper. The part which was covered with black paper does not turn into blue black. So this shows that the part of the leaf that was covered with black paper does not contain starch. So sunlight is must for photosynthesis to occur. Next activity is for photosynthesis. Chlorophyll is very necessary. In first activity, we prove that sunlight is necessary for photosynthesis to occur. In activity 2, we will prove that chlorophyll is must for photosynthesis. Two component is must for photosynthesis to occur. Firstly is sunlight, as we proved in activity 1. In activity 2, we will prove that chlorophyll is necessary for photosynthesis to occur. For proving this activity, take a leaf of Coleus plant as shown in the figure. This is the Coleus plant leaf. The leaf will contain some non-green leaves. Because this plant has some non-green leaves, this leaf will contain some non-green leaf. Draw its outline on a sheet of paper showing the green and non-green patches. Take a Coleus plant and take its leaf. Because Coleus plant has some non-green areas and some green areas, and draw its outlining on the paper. After drawing outlining, when it shows green and non-green patches, now bleaching of the leaf is done as we do in the activity 1. What do we mean by bleaching of the leaf? Removing the green part of the leaf is called bleaching the leaf. How can we do bleaching of the leaf? Firstly, we will boil the leaf into the water, then we will boil into alcohol, then it turns down and then it remove the green color of the leaf, and it is called bleaching of the leaf. I am repeating, what do we mean by bleaching the leaf? When we take a green leaf and boil it into the water and then boil into the alcohol, it will remove the green color of the leaf, and this is called this is called this is called bleaching of the leaf. Second activity is called to show that chlorophyll is necessary for photosynthesis. Firstly, we have to take a chlorophyll plant, take its any leaf, and this leaf contains some green part and non-green part. Draw its outlining, which part some part shows green part and some shows non-green part. And then we will bleach the leaf. And what do you mean by bleaching the leaf? Firstly, we will boil into the water, then we will boil into the alcohol. After bleaching the leaf, it will remove the green part of the leaf. Then we will wash the leaf as shown in the figure and add iodine solution. After putting 2 or 3 drops of iodine solution over the leaf, then we will we will see that the part of the leaf green in color. Firstly, we will take a chlorophyll plant leaf, and then we will divide its green part and non-green plant on the paper. Then we will bleach the leaf. What do you mean by bleaching? Firstly, we will boil into the water, and then we will boil into the alcohol, and then wash the leaf. After washing the leaf, we put 2 or 3 drops of iodine solution. The part of the leaf that were green in color, the green part turn into blue black, but non-green part doesn't turn into blue black. Why? Because this activity shows that the formation of photosynthesis take place in the presence of green chlorophyll, because green part contains chlorophyll, and the green part turns into blue black, but non-green part doesn't convert into the blue black. This shows that chlorophyll is necessary for photosynthesis to occur. So we have 2 colors, one is green and the second is non-green. The green part turns into blue black, and non-green part does not turn into blue black. So formation of stars takes place in the presence of chlorophyll. So second activity is chlorophyll is necessary for photosynthesis. Firstly, we will take a chlorophyll plant, and then because these chlorophyll plant leaves both have both part of first green and non-green. And firstly, we will bleach this leaf. How can we bleach the leaf? Firstly, we will boil into the water, and then we'll boil into the alcohol. After boiling, we will wash the leaf. After washing the leaf, we will put some 2 or 3 drops of iodine into it. After putting 2 or 3 drops of iodine, then the green part of the leaf turns into blue black, and non-green part does not turn into blue black, because green part contains chlorophyll. Because green plant contain chlorophyll and non-green plant does not contain chlorophyll. So these prove that chlorophyll is necessary for photosynthesis to occur. So two components are necessary. First is sunlight, and second is chlorophyll. Next, we will prove parts of a leaf. So we must have 2 components. First is sunlight, and second is chlorophyll. So then we will fill up in the blanks. First is plants prepare food in the form of. So as we studied earlier, plants prepare in the form of, as in previous page, page number 1, food stored in the form of starch. As we studied in the previous page, plants stored in the form of starch. Next, we will study about parts of a leaf. Leaf have different parts: leaf blade, main vein, veins. Then we will explain parts of the leaf. So then first is plants prepare in the form of sugar or starch. Photosynthesis takes place in the dash leaves. Photosynthesis in green leaves. The extra food prepared by the plants in the form of stem and roots. Leaves of most plants are green due to the presence of a substance called chlorophyll. And what are the parts of leaf? This is a leaf, and this is a main. This a central line is called main vein, and then on the left side there are lines, and on the right side also there are lines, and these are called also veins. But in the center, the central line is called main vein, and left side lines and right side lines are called veins. Are central in the center there is a line, and this is called veins, main vein. And there is also part leaf blade. Now we will discuss parts of a leaf. Take any green leaf and observe it carefully. You will see a flat part called the leaf blade. What do we mean by leaf blade? In the green leaf, we have a flat portion. We have a flat portion, and this is called leaf blade. And what is leaf blade? The flat portion in the green leaf is called leaf blade. And there will be a main vein running along the center of the leaf. In the center there is a line, and this is called main vein. The central line in the leaf is called main vein. And what do we mean by leaf blade? The flat part of the leaf is called leaf blade. The main vein is called midrib. The main vein is called midrib. And then observe this leaf under a microscope. You will see many tiny pores called stomata. And what are the parts of leaf? There are three parts of the leaf. First is flat portion of the leaf. This is the flat portion of the leaf is called leaf blade. The flat portion of the leaf is called leaf blade. And in the center, there is a line, and this is called main vein. And there is also a line, so these are called veins. And this is the leaf, flat portion of the leaf is called leaf blade. And there is in the center is a line. This is called main vein. And it has a number of side veins. The main vein is called midrib. And then the other name of main vein is midrib. Then there is a three parts of the leaf. First is leaf blade. The flat portion of the leaf is called leaf blade. And also in the central line is called main vein, and this is also called midrib. And there are also in the left side there is there's a lines, and on the right side there is a line, and this is called side veins. Observe the underside of the leaf under a microscope. You will see many tiny pores called stomata. When we observe this leaf under a microscope, under a microscope, what do we mean by microscope? Microscope is an instrument which magnifies the object, and this is available in our laboratory. What do we mean by microscope? Microscope is an instrument which magnifies the things, and this is available in our laboratory. There are many kinds of microscope, and when we look this leaf under a microscope, then we will see many tiny pores in the leaf. There is a tiny pores of the leaf, and these tiny pores are called stomata. When we observe these leaf under a microscope, then we will see small tiny pores, and these tiny pores are called stomata. When we see these leaf under a microscope, then this leaf is called these leaf are called stomata. A leaf takes in carbon dioxide and gives us oxygen and water vapor through stomata during the process of photosynthesis. Next is some interesting plants. There are also some interesting plant, cascata and cactus. We have studied in lesson number 1. So we will again, I'm revising parts of a leaf. A leaf has a flat portion, and this is called leaf blade. And in the center there is a line, and that is called midrib and central line. And there are also lines on the left side of the leaf and also on the right side of the leaf, and this is called veins. And when we see these leaf under a microscope, then there are small tiny pores, and these pores are called when we look these leaves under a microscope, then the small tiny pores are seen, and these small tiny pores are called stomata of the leaf. What are the parts of leaf? First is leaf blade. The flat portion of the leaf, flat part of the leaf is called leaf blade, and central line is called midrib. And when we see these leaf under a microscope, we see tiny pores, and these tiny pores are called stomata. And when we see these, see these lines under a microscope, then this is called stomata. Next is a flat part of the leaf is called leaf blade. And this is true or false? That the flat part of the leaf is true. A leaf has many veins, true. A leaf helps the plant to breathe through stomata, yes. The side vein is called midrib, false. The main vein is called midrib. So whether true or false, first is the flat part of the leaf is called leaf blade, yes, true. Second is a leaf has many veins, true. Third is a leaf helps the plant to breathe through stomata, yes. The side vein is called midrib, no. The main vein is called midrib. Then we will study about some interesting plants such as cascata and cactus. As we studied in chapter number 1, some plants such as cascata cannot produce all its food. It requires photosynthesis. It grows on other plants to derive food from the host, to act as a parasite on the other plant. Such plant are called parasitic plant. Another is the cactus plant, in which leaves are reduced to spines, thus is food prepared in the green stuff. We have many plants just like cascata, croton, and cactus. This is very interesting plants because it function on a different way. Because some plants such as cascata, for example, cascata plant cannot produce all its food for photosynthesis, as we studied in chapter number 1. Cascata cannot make their own food by photosynthesis. It takes the help of other plants, and the plants which will the help are called host plants. So it acts as a parasite on other plant, and these type of plants are called parasitic plant. And another is a cactus plant, and there's a cactus plants in which leaves are reduced to spine. Cactus has special character. Cascata has special characteristic that they cannot make the cascata has some one special characteristic. They cannot make their own food on by itself by photosynthesis. They take help. They take help of other plant. Plant in which cactus plant in which leaves are reduced to spines, just as in a cactus. This is the example of cactus. In the cactus plant, these plant reduced into its leaves are reduced to the spine, and then its food is prepared in the green stem. And cascata has special characteristics that it cannot make their own food by itself. They take with the help of host plant, and this is called cascata. And what do we mean by what is the special characteristic of cactus? Its leaves are turned into the spines, and its food is prepared in the green stem. There are some color plants which have chlorophyll but do not appear green, because chlorophyll makes the plant green. But there are some plants which appears colored, but they do not have chlorophyll. But they which have chlorophyll but do not appear green. There can be some plants which can be colored, but which contains chlorophyll but does not appear green. For example, the leaves of croton plants appear dark red. They have green chlorophyll, but a red color strand present in the leaves hides the green color of the chlorophyll, so process of photosynthesis. So there are some 3 plants which have special characteristics. First is cascata, because cascata cannot make their food by itself by the process of photosynthesis. So they have special characteristics. They take help with the other plant, and this is called host plant. And this is the characteristics of cascata plant. And what are the characteristics of croton plant? Leaves are red color, but in their leaves chlorophyll present. but do we mean by living things? How can energy in living we will prove in the lecture. So we have studied about the some special features of the plants, just as cactus and other plants. And then we will study about energy flow in living things. Plant use solar energy, water, and carbon dioxide to make their food. Because plants require solar energy and water and carbon dioxide to make their food. The food prepared the plant is eaten by the animals and human beings. This gives them energy to work and grow. Thus, energy of the sun flows into living things. Animals and human beings breathe out carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide goes into the atmosphere and it is used by the green plants to prepare their food. In the process of making food, plants release oxygen byproduct which is used by human beings and other animals to breathe. And this cycle continues to maintain the balance between carbon dioxide and oxygen. How can energy flow in living things? Because plants use all energies, energy, just like use water and take carbon dioxide from the environment and make their food, as in studied in photosynthesis. You know what do we mean by photosynthesis? Plants take sunlight and water from the soil and minerals from the soil and carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and they make their food. And this food is eaten by the then animals. Firstly this tree, firstly from the this tree, this take the water and mineral from the roots of the plant and take sunlight from this. And then then sunlight combines with water and minerals and then take carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and these will convert into a food, and this is stored in the plant. And this food is eaten by the human being. Food is prepared by the plant and this food is eaten by the human being. Next is, this gives them energy to work and grow, and thus energy of the sun flows into living things. Because sun energy is used in the tree and this energy is used by a human being. This carbon dioxide goes into the atmosphere and it is used by the green plants to prepare their food. In the process of making food, plants release oxygen as byproduct, which is used by human beings and other animals to breathe. This cycle continues and maintaining the balance between the carbon dioxide and oxygen in nature. As we know, and plants and animal being, they release carbon dioxide and takes oxygen. So firstly, food is prepared by the plants and it is taken by the human being as shown in the figure. And then energy of the sun goes into the living things. Because animals and human beings, they take oxygen and release carbon dioxide, and this carbon dioxide goes into the atmosphere, and this is used by the plants to prepare their food. When plants prepare their food, then there is an exchange of energy. They release oxygen and they consume carbon dioxide. So, and then after when food is prepared by the plants, then it is used by the human being. And then in the process of making food, plants release oxygen as byproduct, which is used by human being and other animal to breathe. This cycle continues and maintaining the balance between carbon dioxide and oxygen in nature. How energy is exchanged? Because plants take carbon dioxide and release oxygen, and oxygen is being used by human being, and human being release carbon dioxide, and then carbon dioxide taken by plants, and this cycle continues, and this cycle is called energy flow. And this cycle is called energy flow. What is energy flow in living things? Firstly, plants may prepare their own food by the process of photosynthesis. They take sunlight and they take water and minerals and they take carbon dioxide and they take carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and it will convert into the food. in the tree, and this food is converted, then this food is stored in human beings, and this food is stored in stored in human beings, and oxygen is consumed by human beings. When human beings release carbon dioxide, just shown in the figure, when these human beings release carbon dioxide, and then this carbon dioxide goes into the plant and consumed by the plants. Also for animal, when they release oxygen, it is consumed by animal. Animal release carbon dioxide, and carbon dioxide goes into the plants. So this cycle continues, and the maintaining of oxygen and carbon dioxide is maintained. So this cycle continues in living things. So how energy flow in living things, and this how energy flow in living things, some carbon dioxide and food and oxygen and human beings. So there is exchange of gases, just like in carbon dioxide and oxygen. For exchange of gases, uh, plants release carbon dioxide, and this is consumed by human beings, and human beings release carbon dioxide, and this is consumed by the plants. So there is a cycle of carbon dioxide and oxygen is maintained. Again, I am repeating, when plants make their food with the help of photosynthesis, when plants take sunlight from the sun and take water and mineral from the soil, just as shown in the figure, and these water and minerals combine with the sunlight and add with the chlorophyll, then these combines as a food with the help of the phenomena photosynthesis. And when these plant release food and oxygen, and this is consumed by either by human beings, either by animals. When these food and oxygen is consumed by human being or animal, they release carbon dioxide, and this carbon dioxide is consumed by plants. And then in this way, energy flows in living things. So in this way, maintenance of balance of carbon dioxide and carbon dioxide and oxygen is balanced. So this cycle continue in living things. So this is the cycle of living things. So in this way, energy flows. In first class, we studied about the how can we prepare food with the help of photosynthesis. And what do we mean by photosynthesis? Photosynthesis is the phenomena of making food with the help of sunlight and chlorophyll and from the water and minerals. And what is their function we studied about? Next in the lecture, we studied about sunlight is necessary for photosynthesis. And next we studied about chlorophyll is necessary for photosynthesis. And the last we studied about the parts of the leaf, and what are the parts of the leaf. In the central line is called midrib, in the side lines are called veins, and the flat portion of the leaf is called leaf plate. And when we see this leaf under a microscope, and these small tiny pores are called stomata. And there are some interesting plants. First is cascata, then this cactus and celerium. First is cascata. What is the special features? Cascata has special feature that they cannot prepare their own food. They take help with the help of host plant. So this is the special characteristic of cascata. What is the special characteristics of cascata? Because they cannot make, what is the special characteristics of cascata? They cannot make their food with the help of oneself. They take help with the help of host plant, and this is the special characteristic of cascata. And what is the special characteristic for croton? Its leaves are red in color, but they contain chlorophyll. The green color of the leaf is shed by the red color of the leaf, but they make their food with the help of photosynthesis. And what is the special characteristics of cactus? Its leaves are converted, reduced into spine, and these special features help them to foods prepared into the green stem. Next is how energy flow in living things. As we studied, plants make their food with the help of light and water and mineral from the soil. and this will convert into the food and oxygen, and these food and oxygen is consumed by the either human beings or either by animals, and this is also they release carbon dioxide, and the carbon dioxide is released carbon dioxide released by human being and animal, and this is consumed by the tree. So balance of carbon dioxide and oxygen is balanced in this way. So now answer this. Now any query regarding lesson 2? You have to write important terms in your fair notebook. On first page, you have to write lesson number 1.